Well, Zillow is at it again. They have updated their housing price forecast for 2026, and now they're saying prices are going to increase next year. Come on, Zillow, let's get it together. Okay, they've been updating this forecast all year. I saw this pop up. I'm like, all right, we got to talk about it. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about that, other housing market happenings, and plus I'll be answering your questions. So let's dive right into this. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Jackie Baker. I am a realtor here in Northern New Jersey. We talk about all things real estate, housing market, all this great fun stuff on your live dose of real estate reality. So, house rules. If you are new, if you have a question, please put QQQ. You see the banner down below. Please put QQQ in before your question so my lovely producer can find your question and put it up on the screen for us, and I can read it. So that's super important. The other thing, housing wins. Okay, what we've been doing here every week is we're celebrating those who either got their offer accepted, got under contract, closed on a home. The housing market has been a real bear the past few years, and people are frustrated. But you know what? People are still buying and selling houses. So I want to give some hope to people out there. So please share your win. Put that in the comments, and we're gonna announce those a little bit later in the show and celebrate that. So please make sure you put that in there. Okay. So I already got some people chiming in. It's my usual people. Twisted Sister, you love real estate news? So do I. That's why I have this channel. I love talking about it. Michael, welcome back. Can't wait to hear the commentary. Bet you can't wait. I know. I can't either. Hello, my friend. I'm so glad you're here. You're here like on time. I love it. You're gonna be here for the whole show. I love it. Hello, Sabrina. Thanks for being here. All right. What? Hello, buddy. What's going on, baby Philly Fox podcast? All right. So let's get into it, guys. So Zillow again. Did you like my thumbnail or I put again? I'm like, come on. They revised it again for 2026. Now, they're not saying prices are going to go up tremendously, but nonetheless, they're expecting an increase. So let me make this a little bit bigger for my friends out there. Okay, so Zillow just revised its home price forecast for over 400 housing markets. Zillow slightly upgrades its national home price outlook, predicting that over the next 12 months, U.S. home prices are likely to rise 1.2%. And again, it's not a huge increase that they're predicting, but they're saying they're going to rise. All right, so here is what they have to say. Zillow economists just published their updated 12-month forecast projecting U.S. home prices as measured by the Zillow Home Value Index will rise 1.2% between August 25 and August 26. Now, heading into 2025, Zillow's 12-month forecast for U.S. home prices was projected to increase 2.6%. However, many housing markets across the country softened faster than expected, prompting Zillow to issue several downward revisions. By April, Zillow cut its 12-month national home price outlook to minus 1.7%. They were saying prices were going to decrease 1.7% as of April. However, in recent months, Zillow had stopped issuing downward revisions. In August, Zillow revised the 12-month outlook to 0.4, and it's now revising that outlook to increase 1.2%. So here's the reasoning why. Sellers took a step back from the housing market in August in response to slow demand from cash-strapped home shoppers. Buyers still in the market have plenty of opportunity, especially in inventory-rich environments. But competitive momentum that has been swinging fast in buyers' favor in recent months is showing signs of stopping nationwide. While Zillow's national home price forecast is no longer negative, it isn't exactly bullish either. High housing costs continue to sideline prospective buyers, making it easier for those still in the hunt. Zillow's market heat index shows the market is balanced between buyers and sellers nationwide, with less competition among buyers than in any August since 2018. Homes are lingering longer before finding a buyer as well. The median time on market for a sold home is 27 days, a full week longer than last year and 1 day longer than pre-pandemic norms. So we're pretty much there, guys. So here's the this is their map. I want to make a little just see how it looks here on the screen. Okay, you guys can see that. So this is the map. This is their heat index map that this is what they're basing all their data off of. So those softer markets, like down here. So you have here in yellow, it's showing a 0%, meaning it's balanced. So you see a majority of these are yellow. You see a lot of them yellow. Then you have some that are green. They're still showing positive increases, but it's becoming a balanced market now. Down here in New Orleans, you see here that's still kind of in a negative. There's still seeing price reductions there, but pretty much everywhere you're looking at a balanced market, which is what we want. We want that. We want balance. Balance is good. Now, among the 300 largest U.S. metro area housing markets, Zillow expects the biggest home price increase between August of 25 and 26 to occur in these metros. Atlantic City, New Jersey, they're expecting an increase of 4.7%. Torrington, Connecticut, 4.7%. Saginaw, Michigan, 4.6%. You can see all those. Pottsville, 4.4%. Rockford, Illinois, 4.3%. So all of these areas here, now these are markets where the homes are more affordable. Kingston, New York. And I think this is why they're saying the prices are going to increase because, again, low inventory, and especially in the Northeast, in those areas, but the prices are a lot cheaper in these markets too. So that's why they're anticipating a price increase. Now, the price declines. These markets are here. So a lot of them that you saw on the map, I showed you, Louisiana. You have a 4, 5, 6, 7 towns or cities in Louisiana that are seeing the biggest home price decline. I mean, look at that, 7.9%, 7.5%. Beaumont, Texas, Odessa, Texas, Corpus Christi, not a huge decrease, 3.3%. Corpus Christi, 3.2%. San Francisco, 3%. I mean, it's not enough to say, oh, we're going to have a crash. This is not crash worthy. Crash worthy, you're looking 20% or more. So it's not, I mean, 2.4% for Austin, Texas. I mean, that's not a huge amount. So if you're thinking about selling in these areas, I wouldn't be getting overly concerned about that. It's not a tremendous amount. It does go on to say U.S. home prices as measured by the Zillow Home Value Index are currently down 0.01% year over year. If Zillow's latest 12-month outlook comes to fruition, it would represent a tiny acceleration. So this is just showing you what the year over year stats look like last year versus this year. I mean, look down here in Florida. Cape Coral saw a decrease 10.5%, Punta Gorda 12.7%. Yet Florida, as we know, this has been going on all year for them with the prices coming down. All right, let me go back to here. All right, well, we got some comments already. Hi, Jill. Welcome. I flew into South Florida 10 days ago, and there was nobody here. We've been here 25 years, and there isn't any traffic, no waiting in fast food lines. And Saturday, I went to Walmart and walked right up. Jill, it's so funny. It's really not funny, but yesterday I hosted an open house, and this gentleman came in to preview the home, and he was telling me how he was moving his mother-in-law back up here to Jersey from Florida because she couldn't afford it. Are you ready for this one? He told me an 87-year-old woman, her homeowner's insurance was $8,000 a year in Florida. Her car insurance was like another 5,000 or 6,000. He said all in with her insurance between homeowners and car insurance, she's paying upwards of $14,000 a year for an 87-year-old woman in Florida. And he said there's only 4 insurers in the state of Florida right now. That's why it's so freaking expensive. So, yeah, it's and Florida's not in a good it's not in a good situation right now. Joan, who are these people who can afford these homes? Oh, there are people that can afford it, you know? You'd be surprised. You would be surprised. Why listen to Zillow? It's crazy. Listen, I'm not a fan of Zillow. I don't love Zillow. But I share the information because this is such a popular site. Everybody goes to Zillow to look at their homes, look for homes and they go there for their news. So that's why I do talk about Zillow sometimes, even though I'm not a fan. But I know you all watch Zillow, follow Zillow. So Corpus Christi down 3.2%, probably due to taxes and insurance. Supplies average, not much new construction to speak of. Yeah. Same thing. Yeah, Texas too. And the insurance and and the property taxes. I've been hearing that too. I've heard of people, unfortunately, that are facing short sales or foreclosures right now because their tax bills are just out of control. They're having a hard time affording it. Car insurance is not that high. Well, maybe for you it's not, but this man told me his mother-in-law is paying that much in car insurance. I don't know. I mean, why would he lie? That's why she's moving out of there because she can't afford it. So, not to bash on Florida. I'm not trying to do that. Um, Jill, I'm in Broward County and there are for sale signs everywhere. And I started asking neighbors and they said all the Canadians are selling. Yes, that's right. That's been going on since the beginning of the year. So yeah, I know. I just hope it turns around for you guys at some point, you know, with the housing market there. Um Hello someday defect. Happy Monday. Turn cold and rainy in Colorado. It's hot like a summer day here in New Jersey. It was 88 yesterday and today it was like low 80s, like 82, 83 degrees. I'm like, what am I doing here? I should be at the shore. Like I'm down the beach. What am I doing? Like it's October. We're sweating. Hi Clark, how are you, my friend? Thanks for being here. All right, so let's talk about this. Now, do I think the prices are going to increase? Like is what Zillow was saying? Maybe a slight increase. I will tell you what's going on here in New Jersey. Now, last week I participated on a webinar with this guy. You've heard me talk about him before, Jeff Otto. Jeff runs a valuation company here in New Jersey, and he runs these housing market webinars pretty much 3 times a year. So his fall housing market webinar said for Jersey, we are seeing the correction. The correction is definitely here. And he's saying next year, New Jersey home prices are going back to an appreciation of about 5% a year. So that's normal for Jersey. So we'll see. We'll see if that comes to fruition. I hope it does. It's just, you know how I feel about this. It's just been out of control. Now, he said that there are still bidding wars in certain towns. Not as many offers and not as high over asking as I've been telling you guys, because I'm boots on the ground. I'm out there showing homes and making offers and all the things. That is exactly what I've been experiencing as a real estate agent here. So it's definitely coming to the Northeast. If anybody's on here that's watching from like New York or Connecticut, chime in. Or even up in Massachusetts, up wherever, like, up in the Northeast. I'm curious to know, how's it going up there? Are you seeing that correction? Because it's definitely here in Jersey, which, we welcome it. We welcome it. Oh, I did forget. Let me do Kat. Hi, Kat. Thankfully, New Jersey has to stay New Jersey and anchor programs where they refund a portion of your property taxes over and above a set rate if you're 65 plus. Yes, Kat, thanks for bringing that up. That just went into effect this year. So, maybe that'll bring keep more people here in the state and not go down, south and pay these astronomical insurance bills. I did forget, guys. I wanted to talk about the mortgage rates really quick because mortgage rates is very important. And that's usually the first thing I talk about. How could I forget that? Okay. Okay. Mortgage rates today are flat as of today, Monday, October 6th. As you all know, we're in the government shutdown right now, so there is a little bit of volatility there was in the market. But however, they're pretty much remain flat. So we're at 6.365 for a 30-year fixed, 20 years 6.08, conventional 15. It's 5.6%. That's a bargain. A 5-1 arm conventional is 5.61%. So this is where we're at right now, guys. So I don't think now somebody this is the other thing, that webinar that I attended, they're predicting, this guy Jeff said, let me get you out of here, said that they're anticipating interest rates to be this time next year definitely in the fives, in the 5% range. That's what he was sharing with us. Now, he's an analyst. He's, like I said, he's all in with, the housing market and the analytics and all that stuff. So he's saying that we'll be in the fives, which, listen, if that's going to help bring up more inventory and keep things balanced, again, word of the day, balanced. We want a balanced market. That's it. Like, we don't, buyer's market, but that's great too. Or buyers have a little bit more leverage, but that's, down the south. But if we just get balance back into this market, that would be extremely helpful. Generic channel, I like that handle. I just pay my car insurance in New Jersey. It's almost would be cheaper for me to take Ubers because of how infrequent I use my car. Yeah, I don't talk to me about New Jersey car insurance. I won't even tell you what I pay. Ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Is it true if you own a home in New Jersey and decide to sell and move to another state, you have to pay a fee for leaving? Because that's crazy. Thank you for bringing this up. So what this is, yes, they will. It's not. They call it the exit tax. It's not an exit tax. What they do, you have the real estate transfer tax. That tax you have to pay no matter where you move to. If you're going to move down the street, you're going to stay in Jersey, you have to pay this real estate transfer tax. You're leaving the state. What happens is you do have to pay a tax for the sale of the home, but it's a prepayment. So it's a prepayment to the state. So when you're living in your new state, when you file out your taxes the following year, you have to fill out this. It's an out-of-state form back to New Jersey. To claim, that payment that you made, not claim it, but report that payment that you made when you sold the house. And if there was a loss on the sale, if you lost money on it, you could get that money back from New Jersey. If there was a gain, clearly you paid it and that's it. You can't, they're going to keep it. So yeah, that's one of the many taxes here in New Jersey. In addition to that lovely mansion tax. So, yep. If in the fives by next year, it might be worthwhile to look at refinancing. Yeah, those of you guys, if you had to get a mortgage rate in the sevens, say high sixes to low sevens, I know at one point they were pushing 8. Yeah, that would be a good time to refinance if you get in the fives, but always talk to your lender. Talk to a lender to see if it's worthwhile, because when you refinance, remember you have to pay closing costs all over again. So it's very important. Jules King, houses up here in Hudson Valley are still overpriced and not worth $500,000 that they're asking for, but they're selling fast still. Outrageous. 7:48 p.m. Oh, there goes my stupid watch again. Yeah, I'm not surprised. New York, you know why? Because we still have everyone from New York City. This is what Jersey deals with, upstate New York, like and Westchester County and Connecticut too. It's the New York factor, and people from the city are still buying these homes. So that's what's going on. Hey, Sabrina, went to an open house for a home built in 1920. Is there anything to look out in regards to older homes before putting an offer first-time buyer in Northern New Jersey? Excellent question. So I'm sure this home, for the most part, that you saw was renovated. That's what a lot of these older homes do with people who've lived in them. They pretty much will gut the house and redo the whole thing. So I'm sure it's already like been redone for you. But What I like about the older homes, they're built very well. You know, the old adage, they don't make them like they used to. That's true for older cars and it's true for older houses. I love older homes. They make me a little nervous sometimes because especially you have like those unique homes where if the exterior it's wood, you have like wood shakes, and you had like there's specific maintenance you need to do on it. That stuff kind of makes me nervous, but if you don't have that and if everything looks good in the house, also another thing, the basement. With these older homes, the foundation, right? If you go that has a basement, they're typically not cinder block or concrete. It's stone. Because back in the day, they used stone to make the foundation of the homes. I have seen in these homes that sometimes there could be water issues. Not trying to freak you out, but that's a possibility. But if you previewed the home and the basement seemed really dry and it wasn't a water issue, then it's fine. But that's one thing I have experience looking at older homes. That does tend to happen at times. But um anyway, but good luck. Let me know how that goes. Mary Mealy, how are you? Trying to decide if someone like me in a budget should sit tight for a bit after searching so long. It feels like we may have reached the worst time to buy a house here in Bergen County. You know what? I can't predict the market. And here in Bergen County, the inventory is still super tight. Depends on the town. There are some towns where we are seeing homes sit. So, for example, North Arlington. Okay, my team has a listing in North Arlington. We put this house on the market in July. We've done two price reductions on it already, and come to find out, the days on market or the months of inventory in North Arlington is 7 months, meaning that it's going to take a full 7 months for every home that's active in that town to sell. But then you move up to like say Mawa or Ridgewood, that the months what do you call it? The months of inventory you're looking, probably maybe 2 months still, 3 months. So it's still a seller's market where you go into a town, North Arlington, it's a buyer's market. So you just gotta keep an eye on it, Mary. I know it's hard to predict. It really is. It really is. But hopefully, if the rates come down, even like in the fives next year, it'll incentivize more people to list their homes. I've been watching Inland Maine, just north and west of Portland. Good stuff sells in less than a week, but prices have been pretty flat, if not 10,000 lower, super low inventory. As a matter of fact, I just had a person that I referred to an agent up in Maine, and it was over the summer. They bought a house and they lost out on a couple of houses. There were some bidding wars and they lost out, but they ended up buying and they sold their house. But yeah, so I guess it's happening up there too. So yeah, you have a low inventory, but they're not moving as quick. So all right. All right. What else we got, Jen? Hi, Kaylee. How are you? What do we got? Older homes are so beautiful. I love Victorian, but I would never be able to afford them. Yeah, they are beautiful. I mean, my town where I am, we have a lot of older homes. I love them. I love looking at them. They're just so cool. Oh my God, is that Mawa? Where have you been? How are you? I didn't forget about what you emailed me. I'm gonna use that for the next one. Sorry, I had other stuff in mind for this week, but um, oh, Kaylee, I'm glad you're here too. So what are we are on time? Okay. So a couple more articles. Like I just found all this like fun stuff to share with you guys this evening on this fine Monday evening in October. What do we got? Okay. So let's talk about, is now a good time to buy a house? Here's another article. Okay. This is from Yahoo Finance. So it's saying here changes are slowly filtering through the US housing market. Mortgage rates have inched back up over the last 2 weeks. Sellers are discounting list prices and active listings have increased. Considering all the factors that exist right now in the 2025 market, is it a good time to buy a house? All right. Good news for anyone who wants to buy a house before the end of 2025. There are positive signs of improvement. According to Realtor.com, the September 25 housing market trends report there are indications that the real estate market has become more balanced. Again, the word of the night, balance. um, Active listings, more homes are on the market. The supply of houses for sale have grown for 23 straight months, exceeding 1 million active listings for 5 consecutive months. Price reductions in September, 20% of listings featured price reductions. Homeowners listing their houses for 350 to 500 were the most likely sellers to lower their prices. Time on the market. The median number of days homes on the market rose to 62 days in September. That's 7 days longer than this time last year, 2 more days than in August. It goes on about the mortgage rates. The 30-year mortgage rate slipped to a low of 6.08 in late September 24, but haven't met that low water mark again. According to Freddie Mac, the highest rate over the same period has been 7.04. While that may not seem like spectacular news, at least interest rates are currently staying well below 7%. All right. To navigate today's mortgage rates, consider this. More than half of home loan borrowers, 56%, only get a pre-approval from one lender. That reduces your bargaining power and limits the opportunity to find a better interest rate. I say this all the time in every video. Shop out your rates. Don't just talk to one lender. Talk to multiple. Shop them out, guys. I had I know I told this to you guys. One of my clients recently, they just closed on a house last month. He talked to 6 lenders, 6 lenders, and he got a phenomenal interest rate. I think it was just over I think it was 6.1, it's 6.125 or something like that. It pays. Take the time and shop out the lenders. Um, it goes on to say here, putting down a larger down payment can earn you a better mortgage rate. That is very true. The more money you have saved, you want to put down, do that, gets you a better rate. Some buyers get below market mortgage rates by negotiating a buy down or special financing from a seller or a builder. And yes, you can ask the home seller. This isn't just only limited to builders. You can ask the home seller, for concessions. Hey, would you mind paying for my rate buy down? And it's been done. I've seen it done. Um, Okay, it goes on to say regarding inventory, the unfortunate fact is that we still don't have enough housing in this country for people who need it. Construction has helped prevent the housing deficit from ballooning, but it hasn't yet begun to close the gap. So it just goes on to the bottom line, is it a good time to buy a house? To answer the question whether it's a good time to buy a house for you personally, you must look beyond broad market forces. Buying a home is more than considering macroeconomic factors. It's an important life decision based on your personal and financial situation. Who says that all the time? Who says that? That'd be me. I say that all the time. It's based on your situation. Don't time the market. It's one piece of advice I can give. Do not time it. You got to go with your timing. Is it the right time for you? If it's not, then you wait it out. But trying to time it by watching interest rates, waiting for prices to come down. I get this one a lot. I'm going to wait for prices to crash. They're going to crash. They're not. They're not. You saw that. They're going to go up. Now they're predicting they're going to go back up again next year. Slightly, but they're going to increase. So people are still waiting for that crash to happen. It's not happening. Sorry. I'm on 6.5% interest rate and it went down to 6.3. Should I wait? I bought a house last year. Yeah, you know what? The rule of thumb for that is the interest rate should be down like 1 point below what your rate is. So I would wait till like your 5.5%. Yeah. Yeah, 6.3 isn't enough. Yes, Clark, you got to shop around. You do. You have to shop around for that interest rate or forget it. One thing I've seen is that new builds, all 3 I've seen, have sat on the market far longer than older houses from the 1920s. I'm not surprised. I'm hearing this a lot. From our 110-year-old farmhouse has plenty of issues, but we paid 139,900, 2 acres, peace and quiet priceless. We love where we live in Muncie, Indiana. That's wonderful. That is great. Um, anyway, how are resale townhomes selling in Westchester? How does it compare to single family homes? Um, just in general alone, townhomes, typically, I- how am I going to say this right? They don't they take a little bit longer to sell than a single family home, but price-wise, they might be a little bit lower than a single family home just because it's a townhome and, single family homes are more popular. But in Westchester, I don't know exactly. I would imagine that Westchester is still pretty hot. I know here in Bergen County, a lot of townhome communities the prices have just gone bonkers. There's a town here in Bergen County that's selling townhomes for $1,000,000, for $1,000,000. I'm just blown away by that. So, yeah, I'm not sure. Again, I'm not sure about Westchester, but I would imagine it's not gonna be that much different from here. John Winters, yes, hit the like. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. All right, what else we got? Hello, Melanie. How are you? It's my observation that a lot of people are moving out of New York, New Jersey into PA. I also notice there's a lot of competition between downsizers and first-time buyers. Melanie, that has been going on for the last 5 years regarding the millennials versus the boomers. This has been a big issue because the boomers are retiring. They want to downsize. And what are they buying? They're buying like these, small ranch houses or split levels. They're basically buying the starter homes that the millennials wanna buy. They're buying these they can afford, like, a smaller house, so they're competing with the boomers. So this has been an issue. It's been an issue for the last 5 years. Kayla says, "Same in California, prices have skyrocketed, it's crazy." Yeah, I know. I get but the unfortunate thing is we're not gonna see that come down. They're you saw the map from Zillow, if, 5%, 4% at most. Okay, why would a seller decide they don't want to sell to a qualified buyer? I thought the object of the game is to sell the house and make a profit. Do you know? So, why would a seller decide they don't want to sell? It could be a number of reasons. And it may not be particularly about that one buyer. It could be that, they changed their mind, their life situation changed, and they don't want to sell. Um, I don't know. That's what I could think of. I mean, unless you're suspecting there's something going on with that buyer, they didn't want to sell to that particular buyer. I JP says I just listed my house and 5 showings, all downsizers. Yeah, we're still out there. There's still the downsizing's happening. My 75-year-old house in the Cleveland suburbs is huge, but I always wonder if people would be interested in an older house, knob and tube wiring, for example. Bucky, you'd be surprised. More and more people are gonna go for the older homes because the new construction, a lot of it's crap. I hate to say it like that, but it's true. Um, people just don't trust these new builds. They'd rather go with an older house. From what I've heard, contractors and builders are building new homes in Monmouth County area to accommodate the influx of workers for the Netflix studios, which be completed by 28. Yeah, get ready for that. I heard, Cat, in Belmar, and I think I've said this before, it's in Belmar, they're building like a huge apartment building. So I'd imagine that's for that, and they're getting ready for Netflix. Um, my credit union offered 6.75. I was able to rate match at 6.125 with no. So I'm assuming PMI, mortgage insurance, yeah, and a 250 refi guarantee. I'm 95% sales price with the buyers replacing the roof and plumbing on a 1926 historical home. That's awesome. That's awesome. Good. Do you see? Shop out the rates. You see what happened? Here's a perfect example. Perfect example. Ivan, thanks for being here. I see these TV ads for listing your home on Smart MLS. Do you recommend this? What difference does it make? Smart MLS. What's that? All right, so now I got to look this up. Thanks for bringing this up. I have not seen this. Um Oh, okay. This is Connecticut. This has been Connecticut MLS. That's what they just renamed as Smart MLS. So um if you're in Connecticut, it's on Smart MLS. So that's all that is. It's just that's the MLS that serves that area. What else we got? I checked an apartment in Manhattan. We left in 2000 paying 750 for a 3-bed, 1.5 overlook terrace. Now it's for sale. Oh my God. 1.3 million. Bet you're I bet you're upset you don't have that anymore. Just kidding. Looking to buy in Smyrna, Delaware. Ideally interested in new build. Notice resale prices going down significantly, even by 20,000. Though builders aren't budging on price. What's up with that? Well, what the builders are going to do, they're not going to reduce their price. They're going to offer you incentives. So they're going to offer you like 20,000 towards your closing. They're going to offer a rate buy down. They're going to, that's what they do to get around their pricing. But yeah, Delaware definitely they're going through a major correction right now because of all the new construction. I mean, if it was me, I'd buy a pre-existing home. If you can get the price down by $20,000, who cares? I'd rather do that. Hi, Lauren. Welcome back. I decided against Pittsburgh because with interest rate plus property taxes, no go. I mean, a house in Pittsburgh for 300 is 5,000. Same house in Louisville, same price, 1,000 in property taxes. I don't blame you, Lauren. I don't blame you one bit. So, Clifton, New Jersey at 2.75. I want to sell for a bigger house in Clifton. What do you think? That's up to you. That's up to you. If you need the house, if that's what life is telling you, you need more space, then you got to go with it. Yeah, that's what I would do. I mean, just go, like, if you have to do it, then do it, and just to crunch your numbers, make sure the next house you get, just see how those mortgage payments are going to work out. I understand why estimates are useless, but is Zillow really not great? New listings appear faster on my Zillow than MLS service the real estate agent uses to email me. The reason why I don't like it, a lot of agents don't like it, is because they're taking our information and they're selling all of our, so we get a listing, I get a listing, I put it on MLS, is being fed to Zillow. The way it used to be, if my listing went on Zillow, I would get calls from people seeing my listing on Zillow, right? This is the whole point. I'm trying to sell my client's house. I should be getting the phone calls. Now what Zillow does is they charge realtors to pay a fee. They call it Premier Agent. You can spend several hundred to several $1,000s a month to get the leads. So what happens is, so my listing goes out to Zillow. Is my face attached to that listing? No, because I don't pay to be a Premier Agent. The person who's paying to be a Premier Agent, their face shows up next to my listing, and that's who's getting the phone calls to sell the house. So that's my issue with it. They're not. They're just, yeah, they're not good. They're taking our data, um, selling it to other realtors, and yeah, that's why. All right. So, something new I'm trying tonight, guys. I wanted to share with you. I'm doing questions from the community. So I went through my comments on a bunch of my videos, and I get questions from you guys all the time. So I figured, you know what? I want to throw them here on the stream, get them answered. So this first one I have. Okay, I thought this one was interesting. I wanted to bring this up. So the question here was, I went for a property and the agent asked for my bank statements before he can show the property. How absurd is that? Okay. This is a real thing. Now, if you wanna go look at a house, you're serious about buying a house, the first thing I'm gonna ask you, are you pre-approved for a mortgage? And if you are pre-approved, I need that pre-approval. I need to see it, okay? I'm not gonna show you a house. No agent is gonna show you a house without seeing some type of proof of funds and a pre-approval or proof of funds that you have the cash to buy the house. So, you may not like it, but this is what we do, because we don't wanna waste anybody's time either. I'm not gonna show somebody a house and then find out like, "Oh, yeah, by the way, I couldn't get approved for a mortgage." And, so now you're not only wasting my time, but you're wasting that seller's time too. It goes through people go through a lot with getting their house ready and getting ready for a showing. Yeah, but bottom line, we wanna know you're qualified. We wanna know that you're good to go and there's not gonna be any issues, and some people may not like that, but, it is what it is. So that's just how we roll. We have to have that. Um, Here's the next one. This one I had to bring up because this topic has been coming up a lot in the past week. How can you get out of a binding contract with a real estate agent if you're observing all the red flags? Will the agent push back or not agree? Then what do you do? Okay. I understand people have concerns over the buyer agency agreement, and I've had some people question it and push back and say, why do I have to sign it? I'm going to say this until I turn blue in the face. We have to have a buyer agency agreement signed before we can let you in the property. This rule went into effect August of last year, 2024. No question about it. I can't show you a house without the buyer agency agreement signed. Now, this question here, how do you get out of it? And this is what a lot of people don't know because realtors are not doing their job in explaining how these agreements work. You can absolutely get out of your buyer agency agreement. Very simple. You just have to write an email to your agent and copy their broker to say, "Hey, I feel like this isn't a good fit. Um, I want to terminate this agreement and move on and, thank you for your time," all that stuff. That's all you need to do. You just have to put it in writing that you want to terminate the agreement. If the agent pushes back, you push back harder and you say, "No, I know it is my right. I can terminate this agreement by providing you this in writing. It can be terminated at any time." So if they push back harder. They shouldn't. I've heard of one incident where we acquired new clients and they were trying to get out of their agreement with the previous agent. Previous agent was giving them a hard time. And I told them, "No, you go back to them and say, 'No, I can get out of this agreement. I just have to put this in writing to you.'" And it's a lot of back and forth, but that agent finally released them. So this, guys, so important. Another thing I want to mention, if you're not comfortable going to look, to look at a house, sorry, if you're not comfortable signing that agreement, you can do a single property showing buyer agreement. You totally can do that just to feel out the agency. Hey, do we like you? Do we think this is a good fit? You can also do an agreement for 30 days, 60, 90 days, however long you want. All right. But if you want to do it as little as 30 days, you can do that. Just do like a trial period. You can. Super important. You have an upfront conversation with the agent and what your expectations are. And that, I don't want to commit to a long period of time. We're just starting out. Absolutely do that. But this topic keeps coming up a lot with these buyer agency agreements. And it's like we're a year into this. We're a year into this and we're still getting pushback. We're still getting questions. And um I wish more realtors would be on board and upfront about the process that you can get out of the agreement. What was Clark saying? In Georgia, I tell people to get a mutual termination agreement document as well. Yeah, that's good advice, Clark. But Clark, do you find this? I mean, I find that people they're just not it's frustrating. People are not or they're not They're not educated. They're not being educated about this form, which we have to have. So I've said it again. I'm going to scream it from the rooftops. We got to do better on educating the buyers on what this agreement is. And remember, the agreement is not with the agent; it's with our brokerage. Thank you, Clark. Thank you. That's exactly what it is. It's with the brokerage. So, uh, okay. What else we got? Laura says, I lost a home after submitting trust deposit. My realtor took us early to show, and seller had to leave for dental appointment. He must have dwelled on it. After that, went with your recommendation for realtors. Laura, you're so well. Thank you. Thank you. You were so I'm so glad that worked out. Grace, if your agreement expires, you can move on to someone else. How long is the typical agreement? It's typically 6 months. That's what I've seen, and that's what I've done. I usually do 6-month periods. And if it expires, you can absolutely move on to somebody else. Your agent will know when that agreement is expiring, and they should come back to you to say, do you want to resign this? Do you want to continue working together? But yeah, it's typically 6 months. So, um, what did I see Mawa Azad have another comment there or no? Did I miss that? Oh, I was pushed out of the apartment I rented here in New Jersey. Rented 2-bedroom, 1,200 January, March 15, and in June, the new landlord wanted 2,100. My son rented an apartment across from me. That's a big increase. I thought we weren't allowed to increase the rents by a certain percentage here in Jersey. That's what I thought. Wow. None your business. What's going on? If an agent asked me for proof of funds to show me a house, I would say, good for you, and I'm an agent. Good. No, that's what listen, we have to do that. We have to make sure that you guys, the person can buy it. So, you're so welcome. Thank you for watching. What else do I got? So those are the big important things, especially the buyer agency agreement. Like we gotta do better with that. Um, yeah, that is a big increase, right, Clark? That's a lot. Oh, here we go. I knew there was something else I wanted to share with you guys. Okay. This was fun. So, disgraced lawyer jailed for deed theft. Yeah, I'd want to hire him. Are you serious? Are you serious? Notorious deed thief Sanford Solney is in jail after allegedly violating his probation. On Tuesday, Solney was remanded to custody during a probation hearing in Queens, New York. In Queens, the New York Times reported. The 68-year-old is expected to remain in jail until the court's adjournment concludes in a little more than a month. Solney was sentenced to 5 years of probation in 2019 after pleading guilty to possession of stolen property. He allegedly violated that probation within months after committing another deed theft. He just can't help himself. Good God, you're on probation and you're still stealing homes. Look at this. This summer, Solney was convicted of stealing 11 homes. He was allowed to be free ahead of his sentencing in the case, which is expected to unfold in Brooklyn this month. It appears Solney wasn't expecting to be taken to jail when he attended his probation hearing, since he did not have his medicine for his high blood pressure in hand, according to one of his lawyers. Oh my God. So this is what this guy did. Look at this. Solney was known to lure owners in by offering to arrange a short sale where owners in financial distress sell their home under lender-approved terms for less than they owe on their mortgage. In return, the lender drops the foreclosure action and forgives the balance of the mortgage. After the short sale, however, Solney's victims, often Black or Latino families, would emerge still carrying debt. He would also tell homeowners that lenders required them to vacate a property for a short sale to occur. They would vacate and he would transfer the deed to himself and start collecting rent on existing tenants or those he brought in. When the tricked owners would ask what was happening with the sale, he would allegedly tell them negotiations were pending. Deed theft is challenging to prosecute as intent needs to be shown, and victims typically sign legally binding documents allowing perpetrators to frame schemes as legal business deals. This is absolutely disgusting. Is this guy for real and he's an attorney? Are you kidding me? So note to self, guys, and especially if you have like elderly parents, just please be careful because there are so many predators out there like this idiot stealing people's homes like that. I mean, absolutely disgusting. So, lesson learned, never sign anything that's pertaining to your house. It's just don't do that. Probation only protects criminals. Yeah. Well, I mean, he's going back to jail because he was still stealing houses. How how? Somebody make it make sense. Somebody explain that to me. Anyway, all right. Boston, Cheryl, it's with a win. I want to hear it. We sold my mom's two-bedroom, two-bath Cape Cod condo after 60 days. Sold for 45 under listing price. Buyers are very picky. Cape is way different from Boston area. We'll buy now in affordable North Carolina. Cheryl, congratulations. Thank you for sharing your win. I appreciate it. That's great. And good luck with the move to North Carolina. I think you're going to be happy there. Rockmaker viewed 4 properties, 3 different agents in the last 3 months. No one asked me to sign a contract, not even mentioned South Texas. That's what we call an 80% age. Yeah, the 80% agent, not the 20% agent. Yeah. There are no regulations on rent increase in New Jersey unless you're in certain cities where the rent is regulated, like Patterson and Newark. Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. Guess not. What do I think of title insurance? I think it's important to have that. So you need to get it. Yeah. What else we got? People don't understand the real estate game. I'm just going through your comments, guys. Um, hello, Skyfall. Thanks for being here. Yep, people don't understand the real estate game. So going back to that comment where they said they went to 4 properties, 3 different agents the last 3 months. No one asked me to sign a contract. If they're not asking you to sign the agreement, that's not a good thing. That's not to me, that's they're not following the rules. I'm a total rule follower. You have to follow you have to be. Besides, here in Jersey, oh my god, the real estate commission, they're out everywhere testing real estate agents. No joke. So I'm surprised they're not doing that in Texas, but we have to have even in our MLS. There's a thing I have to click this box every time when I'm scheduling a house, like, do you have a buyer agency agreement signed with this client? I'm like, yes, every single time I have to hit that. So I don't know. That's concerning to me that these agents aren't even bringing up the buyer agreement. It has to be signed. Yes, always get title insurance. You have to get title insurance for any breaks in the chain. Yep. Thank you. Why would one wanna have title insurance? So title insurance protects you from if there's anything like in the history of the property, right? So say if the prior owners, like, several owners before you, had some issues, with the deed, if there were any liens, things like that, the insurance protects you from from the responsibility if there's any issues from prior owners of your home, if that makes sense. That's why. 11 to 55 community in Somerset running properties are definitely not selling lately, FYI, not even the condos in the mid 400s. Uh, yeah, but 55 communities, so they appeal to an older crowd, right? You're not always gonna get, like, a big influx of buyers, because that's a specialized community, but I think because people don't wanna sell their homes right now, a majority of homeowners in New Jersey probably, don't even have a mortgage. I forget what that percentage was, but it's a very high number. So, I'm not surprised. You're so welcome. Thank you for I haven't seen you in forever. Thank you for being here. Um What is the news on that groundbreaking agent lawsuit? Which lawsuit? I don't know. The groundbreaking agent, are you talking about the one that happened, why we have all these changes, like, with the buyer agency agreement? You talking about that one from last year where they sued for the commissions? Um, I mean, that was the only major one that happened. There are some smaller ones that have popped up since then, some copycat lawsuits, but yeah, um, that was it. Yeah, the one, so that's what happened. They made all these rulings. A bunch of real estate companies like Anywhere, Keller Williams, Remax, we had to pay millions of dollars to settle that with those people who sued. But that was all settled last March, March of 24, and then all the new rules went into place as a result of that. So, yep, and we're still doing it today. Is there a fee I have to pay the agent when I sign him as my agent? No, you don't pay anything, Ruth, up front. The only time you would have to pay is if the seller is not paying their commission. So when you're assigning that agreement, you have to discuss with the agent what their fee is. All right. And that's going to be in the agreement. So in the event, so say you agreed that you're gonna pay them 2.5%. If the seller is willing to pay 2.5% to the buyer agent, you don't have to pay anything out. Now, here in Jersey, sellers are still offering to pay for buyer agent commissions. So I have yet to come across any homes since this new rule went into a place where the sellers can choose to offer compensation to the agent or not. I have not come across that at all. They're still paying. 20 plus year renters now under contract, house on market since May. Price dropped 100,000 Central Florida. Good for you. Congratulations. Wow. $100,000 price reduction. I haven't heard that in years. What did the victims receive? Uh I don't know what their total was, but they did turn this into a class action lawsuit. So now anybody, I guess people can take part in that and get a piece of the pie. But listen, at the end of the day, after what the attorneys collected off of that lawsuit, there's not much left. So, but I don't know what the actual victims got paid. What happens if you buy a house, older seller, and then out of nowhere a family member comes and said they weren't in agreement with the sale? Do you lose the house? Yeah, if that family member is on the deed, if they're an owner and now all of a sudden they don't wanna sell it, yeah, no, you can't. It's that you're not gonna they're not gonna approve the sale. They can't sell it. Um, I shared that story with you guys where, several years ago, I was representing a buyer. They were buying this house. It was an estate sale, so the parents were deceased. The kids were selling the house. We're, like, way into this deal. It was dragging on forever because there was all these issues with the house, and then it dragged on even longer because, um, the siblings had to sign an affidavit saying that they are aware of the house, because the one guy was the, power of attorney, right, or the trustee. He was, like, the head trustee, and they had the brother had to sign an affidavit saying, "Yes, I'm aware we're selling the house." PS, they had a sister, never told anybody. And they had to go notify the sister. The sister had no idea they were selling the parents' house. Yeah, that was fun. And she refused to sign it. And they were making up lies about, like, "Oh, she works for the government. She's in Mexico. She can't get to the embassy in time to go sign this." Like, the guy was a big fat liar. He was awful. But at the end of the day, it's because he didn't tell his sister he was selling the house. He was trying to sell it from underneath her. And then once we found that out, and then she said, "I'm not selling it." Yeah, sale crashed. Crashed and burned. They say AI is coming for the jobs, but agents will be safe, right? Oh, I think so. We talk about this at my office a lot about AI and how is that going to affect real estate. People want to talk to a human, especially when it comes to buying a house. You're gonna rely on AI to help you buy a house? No, you need a human to converse with about the whole process. AI says 36.7% New Jersey homeowners do not have a mortgage. Who can blame them for not moving? You rock. I think watchers are down because watching Monday Night Football. It's fine. I get it. Football is more exciting than me. It's okay. I'm fine with that. But thank you, Cheryl. When I look at homes for sale, a deal breaker for me is oil heat. But so many times the online listing Zillow under heating and cooling just says heating. Yes, I know. Yeah, because it's the way it's just the way Zillow is set up. It doesn't populate every little thing that you see on MLS. It doesn't translate word for word over to Zillow. It's just the way Zillow is. I know it's annoying. It's annoying. What else we got? The agent you recommended sell and buy home never reach out to me. I'm in Clifton. Can you do me a favor? Can you message me again? Um, can you go through that link and message me again about that? I want to hold. Oh God, I'm sorry. Please message me again. I'll get on top of that. Thanks, Jen. Thanks for putting that up there. Um, can someone sell a free and clear house without a real estate agent? Absolutely. You don't have to use an agent. You don't. If you've never sold a house before, I don't know if I would recommend going without an agent because if you don't know what you're doing, you can get yourself into some trouble and lose some money. What does a quick claim deed mean on property report? Not sure what this means. Sorry. No, Sabrina, you're fine. So, a quick claim deed is that where you can sign the house over to somebody and they call that a quick claim deed. This is why we have that. There's that service called home title lock. Because once it gets registered through the record system, Home Title Lock will pick up on that. They'll search for that and they'll see, oh, there's a change on the deed. So what happens is they'll put their name on a deed and they'll try to take out mortgages on the house, and or yeah, it's not good. So you got to be careful with that. So you're looking for a house. Imagine getting stuck in that AI loop. That's a good one, Ranger. Says, "Are you looking for a house? Is that correct?" Yes, I'm looking for a house. Help me. Stupid AI. For some reason, I'm not getting notified. I'm clicking notify button. Not sure. I don't know, Candy. I don't know. That's weird. I know that's a YouTube thing. The older folk and old guard generation want agents and in-person support. Younger folk don't want to do in-person service. Not really. I mean, believe me, I work with a lot of younger kids, like younger kids, a lot of millennials, and they need a lot of hand-holding. That's buying a house, selling a house, a lot of hand-holding that's required. What else we got? Humans need connection no matter how much computers or AI steps in. Don't you get frustrated when you have to go through a million prompts before reaching a person over the phone? I do all the time. I don't have patience for that. I don't have time for that. Quick claim deed basically says your ex-spouse or whomever was on a deed isn't entitled to any proceeds, at least in Oklahoma and Kansas. All right. Thank you, Jill. Can a seller who is selling a high ranch put a bed in the basement, ground level, and call it a bedroom? Is this legal? The property tax is for 3-bedroom. Yeah. So in high ranches, that room downstairs, that lower level is it's a bedroom. They typically are. So yeah. And if the property tax is saying 3-bedroom, it's a legal 3-bedroom house. Yep. Let alone any other industry, it's not going to replace people in my lifetime. Hoping another 40 plus years. Yeah, me too. How does a commission work if you purchase a new build without an agent? Do I save any money? You would save money regardless because if you work with a builder on a new build, the builders usually pay the agent's commission. So you wouldn't be paying it anyway. It doesn't matter. So it does pay to get an agent. You're buying new construction, hire a real estate agent. So, so important. And also do your own independent inspection of the homes as you're going through the build process. Just trust me on that one. Hope that helps. Quit claim deed, you lose the title insurance. You have to go back to your title company. All right. Thank you. Um, all right. Gravy. Yeah, with that one we just did, Jen. So I think we are I think we got through all the questions, you guys. This is good. You guys were amazing tonight, as always. Let me really quick. Let's not forget, if you guys need to get in touch with an agent in your area, whether you're selling or buying a home, click this link. Hit this button right here, request an agent referral, and then you're going to be directed. You get another email that's going to direct you to a questionnaire. I need you to fill that out. It's so super important that you do that, because that helps me identify like what you're looking for in an agent, and what your price point is, all that fun stuff. So it's super important. All right, you guys, thank you. It's been another wonderful Monday evening with all of you, and those of you who decided not to watch Monday Night Football, I thank you for being here. Awesome. All right. You guys have a wonderful week. See you next Monday. Have a good one.